As I said in my most anticipated movies of 2026 video, I'd say this year was pretty good for movies, so I decided I'd rank all 34 of the ones I saw. This is gonna be a long one, which is why I'm splitting it into multiple parts. I may not spend too long on some movies while spending a while on others, just because there may not be too much to say on that movie, especially the ones toward the middle that left pretty much no impression on me, because trust me, there were definitely a fair amount. Don't worry, I didn't subject myself to War of the Worlds, but I did have the unpleasantry of sitting through...
You suck!
Snow White is one of those movies that you could just absolutely tell it was off by the way it was marketed and just the way it looks. As soon as I sat down in theaters with my friend, who actually ended up watching it twice due to his family wanting to see it too, pray for him, we knew we were in for quite the ride along with the two other families sitting in there. This movie was such a train wreck that it managed a 2.2 on IMDb. That doesn't just happen. Tappy Toes, the knockoff of Happy Feet, has the same score as it. I don't know if there's much more to say on this though. My thoughts from the original review still hold up, so I guess you can go watch that one or any of the other thousands of reviews dragging this thing's name through the mud. Let's move on.
Nope, go to commercial! Go to commercial!
Guess who's here? The only Adam Sandler movie that came out this year that I saw, unfortunately. Happy Gilmore 2 is pretty awful. I don't understand how this works for some people. It's basically Space Jam 2 again, but with celebs instead of advertisements. Someone who thinks that a sport is too boring from the old generation tries to create a new version and makes the main character, some old guy from the original, compete in the new one and beat their contestants or something. The pacing is awful, the characters are mostly awful, I still love Bad Bunny, and the movie is, you guessed it, not good.
When you can even say my name.
Wow, look at that, another reboot of a 90s movie. Anaconda is pretty much the Minecraft movie, but worse. They have Jack Black with a bunch of other random people making unfunny jokes out in the wilderness, though I will say that I do enjoy the first 20 minutes or so. The whole movie that they made was really fun, and them shooting the movie was decent. I also enjoyed the guy with the snake and their funeral singing about the snakeity snake. Such a sad part. The one part in the second half of the movie I enjoyed was when they stuck a pig on Jack Black's back and have him give it a piggyback ride. Beyond that, it's a boring generic action comedy with big actors to rope people in. Unsurprisingly, that's not the only movie on the list that does that. They even have a big twist villain that shows her evil side for about 2 minutes before getting eaten by a giant snake. Not like I found her enjoyable anyways, but can't they give anything some time to breathe? I guess not, since the only thing they really care about in this movie is jokes, such as the dad from Diary of a Wimpy Kid taking a piss on Jack Black. You may say, oh, how could you not like comedy? But I put a movie that does not take itself seriously whatsoever up in my top 10. And once again, a man pisses on another man for 2 whole minutes. The amount of time the twist villain got. Is this comedy to you?
It all just kind of happened.
My dad was an irresponsible scientist.
Well, I forgot this came out. The Henry Danger movie was something I watched while staying home from school, and it was incredibly weird. I'm not sure if it was just medicine talking, but this thing felt like an acid trip. So first, Henry gets kidnapped by a 12-year-old girl with an obsession for him. Then he gets teleported around multiple of her fan fictions because of some device that she stole from her top-secret laboratory with ease. You know what? Of all the fan fictions he could have gone through, these are probably the best ones. After going through a few stories, they meet vampire versions of Piper and Run. It may sound ever so slightly interesting, and maybe it could have been, but there's a hole about the size and shape of Captain Man here that could not be filled by ignoring his and Charlotte's existence until the end. Next up, another movie with Jack Black, the Minecraft movie, or excuse me, a Minecraft movie. This is one of those movies where you're meant to just turn your brain off and watch it with friends or a crowd, but as soon as you remove it from that context, it is the most boring, most underwhelming movie you'll ever see. There are a ton of plot holes, the CGI looks atrocious, and most of all, Endermen teleport behind you, not in front of you.
There's no place I'd rather be.
Lilo and Stitch was the second best of the 3 live-action remakes this year. Maybe a little sad to still be in 30th place when you're beating out one of them, but hey, if you look at any of Disney's movies from the mainland brand, animated or live-action, the highest one is still in 20th, so it was not necessarily a very strong year for them. Yep, this movie still sucks. Jumba's the villain and Gantu's nowhere to be found. It's supposed to be mature, so it's just melodramatic, and there's no adoption papers for Stitch, only for Lilo. Of course, the Disney adults loved it though, so it was one of 3 movies from Hollywood that made over $1 billion. Guess Ohana means nothing anymore. Guess what? It's the generic action comedy I was talking about earlier. Heads of State is fine. It's your basic Prime Video original with a stacked cast and a fine enough script. The two main performances were fine, the jokes were fine, and the plot was fine. This movie is nothing but just fine enough and nothing more, nothing less. Definitely gonna be one of your dad's favorite movies of the year. My opinion of this movie definitely switched on rewatch. Not to an extreme degree, but well enough to the point where I don't consider it good. There were more plot holes that showed up, along with pacing issues and just things broken in this film in general. Stuff such as why not brainwash someone like the president to attack people and still ruin his self-image? Or the part out on the boat near Big Adamantium Guy taking seemingly 5 hours to get through. I still enjoyed President Ross and his stuff, but man, there is nothing stopping this from being the worst mainline superhero movie of the year.
We have Knives Out at home, guys. Trust.
Hello, I'd like to watch the Netflix movie where a former James Bond actor plays one of the lead roles that involves a tomb and old people whose climax takes place in a basement, released in late 2025. Oh, Wake Up Dead Man hasn't come out yet? I guess Thursday Murder Club works fine enough. It's another generic Netflix movie that you're meant to listen to while you scroll on your phone, where they won't shut up for 1 second. I am genuinely so sick of having things you can plainly see on screen told to me by the characters on there. David Tennant is overdosed with fentanyl and collapses in the middle of a crowd. Of course, they have to let us know he's dead. We couldn't figure that out for ourselves, for any matter. It's gotten to the point where I've gotten sick of dialogue in movies. Sometimes I want people to shut the
Schmabulok.
up. So yeah, a Netflix original movie.
I wanted to offer my condolences.
Who died?
The Tron franchise.
Tron Ares is one of those movies that can be reduced to one sentence. The only things that were better than bad or even just fine enough were the soundtrack and the visuals. I don't know how else to put it. Moving on.
Oh, you talking about them things from Jurassic Park?
Jurassic World Rebirth is yet another entry in a franchise that's been dead since 1997. They have one passable movie since the first, and that is the first Jurassic World, which, then again, is just a copy of the first movie, and this is the best movie since then. 5 out of 10. Also, why would I want a Snickers if it got that guy killed? My goodness. And this got an Oscar nom. Why? How many sequels to franchises that have been dead for years did they put out this year? Karate Kid Legends was a pretty enjoyable movie. I mean, I haven't seen the original in a long time, so take my opinions on this one for a grain of salt, but I had a good time throughout some of it. It did have a ton of sports movie cliches and romance cliches, but having Jackie Chan and the first Karate Kid in the same room clipping at each other makes up for that. Right? Their chemistry is pretty fun to watch, and I enjoy the pizza shop owner guy. There wasn't much to latch onto with the main character, though. He's pretty much just your basic new kid in town who wants to prove himself. There's not much to him, but this was a pretty passable watch otherwise. So yeah, that was the first video in this, and probably the longest. I would put this out all at once, but editing all of this as one person is difficult, along with being the reason this is coming out in February. So yeah, the next part should come out in the next 2 weeks or so. Tune in for that, and thanks for watching.